Hey, welcome to Yes Golf channel. Thanks for joining us. Today we're gonna dive into the common mistakes that golfers make when choosing a shaft of their clubs. We are here in La Habra, California, and we get to fit a lot of golfers, all variety of golfers, from beginners to advanced players. And one of the common things that we see is we see an inconsistency when it comes to the shaft weight and flex of most of our golfers' bags. So I just want to lay a groundwork of the basis for which you can use when you are ordering or when you're purchasing a golf club. And let me just start right off the bat with the big stick, right? The driver. If you look at the stock shaft weight and flex on a driver, usually it's around 50 grams to 60 grams. So if you look at a Ping, it comes in the 50 gram range. If you look at TaylorMade or Titleist, Callaway, they have a choice between 50 gram and a 60. So you can choose whatever you would like there, but the mistake comes from when you are ordering or purchasing a 3-wood and a 5-wood or even a 7-wood. So from a driver, it's the basic rule is that you add a 10 gram to whatever weight you are using for your driver shaft. So if you're using a 50 gram driver shaft, you should use a 60 gram 3-wood. And on a 5-wood, you can use the same 60 gram. And on a 7-wood, you can actually go a 10 grams heavier on that one. You can stay in the 60 grams, that's okay. But as gradually the shaft gets shorter, the club gets shorter, you want to add some weight so you can get a nice progression of the weight class. So again, the driver, let's say you start at a 50 gram, the fairway woods generally should stay around 60 to 65 grams. And on a hybrid, the general rule is you add another 10 grams to that. So the hybrid would be about 70 grams or 75 grams if you use a 50 gram driver shaft. Same goes if you are using a 60 gram shaft and you like that, you can go to 70 grams on the fairway woods and 80 grams on the hybrid. So natural progression is 10 grams heavier on your top end of the club from driver, woods, and hybrids. Now let's talk about the flex. When it comes to flex, stock shafts can vary a lot, but if you stay around one general brand and if you are on a borderline between stiff and a regular, it is okay to generally stay the same flex. Obviously, that's the best. But if you feel like you're hitting driver a little bit faster because you're hitting up on the ball and because the ball is on a tee, I have seen to go up a strength or up a flex when it comes to only the driver. So let's say you are using a regular flex all throughout your set, including the irons. But you feel like driver is your weapon and you can really go at it harder, it is generally okay to go with a stiff flex in that case. Same thing with seniors. If you're using a senior flex shafts all throughout your bag, but you feel like driver, you have a confidence at going at it a little bit more, it is okay to go one step up in that. But that's only the general exception that I would have. Basically, you want to have a weight class that is naturally going 10 grams heavier and a flex that is exactly the same all throughout the set, except when you feel like driver, you can go at it a little harder, then you can go up a flex and go stronger. So that's the top end of the club. But we have seen a lot of people make mistakes on the iron and wedges. Generally, if you take a look back maybe 10, 15 years ago, all of the stock shafts, steel shafts on the irons were dynamic gold shafts. Whether it's S300, R300, it has been the dynamic gold that has been popularized by Tiger Woods, right? So those are generally in the area of 130 grams. So wedges were 130 grams, irons were 130 grams, so that's okay. However, nowadays you will see that most of the stock shaft weight on the steel shafts have come down a little bit. So P790, one of the biggest sellers of this generation, right? P790 has a 105 gram weight as a stock shaft. However, what we see from the wedges is that they have stayed at 130 grams. So the SM10 of Vokeys, the Titleist Vokeys, the new Opus SP wedges have the 130 gram. However, we think that if you're using a weight that is in the iron that is about 100, 105, the wedges should have another 10 gram addition to it, not 30 grams. So if you go on a 105, you want to go to a 115 gram weight. That way it's generally feels comfortable. Not going from a medium weight shaft irons and to going to a heavy weight wedges. A lot of people say it's okay to have a heavier wedge on a heavier shaft on the wedges. I agree, but not 30 grams heavier, right? 10 grams heavier usually is a rule of thumb that works really, really well. Again, if you're using graphite shafts and you're using maybe 80 gram graphite shaft, 70 gram graphite shaft, or even 65 gram shaft, I wouldn't recommend getting a stock wedges that is 130 grams, in which case it's about 2 times the weight of your graphite shafts. Going maybe 20 grams heavier or even 10 grams heavier is okay. Generally, we recommend that. However, not going 130 grams. So when it comes to wedges, I would really recommend that you go custom. Custom doesn't cost you additionally. It just takes a little bit longer time, but it is way better for you to take maybe 2 weeks or so to receive wedges that kind of progressively matches your irons rather than going with some shaft that is like twice the weight of your iron. So rule of thumb again, 10 grams heavier, max 15 to 20 grams, but I wouldn't recommend going 60 grams heavier on the wedges. So here, let me summarize all things. Driver, woods, hybrids, 10 grams there. On irons, again, another 10 to 15 grams would help you to have a really nice, consistent progression throughout your bag. And one tip to give to you when it comes to buying clubs, if you're not interested in paying extra for premium shafts, you can still be better at choosing a stock shaft. So most of the companies allow you to choose an aftermarket shaft or other options of shafts rather than just what they put on a stock shaft. So for example, TaylorMade has a driver QI35 core, let's say. It comes in a 60 gram shaft. However, if you feel like you want to use the QI35 core driver head, but with a lighter shaft, you can use a Fujikura, the Ventus stock version that comes in a 50 grams, or even the Air Speeder that comes in the max version that is also a little lighter and also even more flexible within the same flex of the shaft. So at our website, yesgolfshop.com, we have those options as well. So you can mix and match if you want to use a core version or if you want to use a low spin version, but want to use a lighter weight shaft at no additional charge, you can order that. And I recommend that you do that because that's gonna help you to really pick what works best for you. That's the best way to start setting up your golf clubs for success. So again, if you go to yesgolfshop.com, generally we list all the non-upcharge optional shafts there for you so that you can pick and choose whatever you would like. Hopefully this was helpful for you. If you have any questions, comment below and I would love to answer those questions for you. Again, we are here at La Habra, California. If you can visit us, getting fitted is the best way. However, if you can't, if you're away from this area, you can still use yesgolfshop.com to enjoy your new golf clubs. Thank you so much for watching. Subscribe so we can get up to a little bit more subscribers. Thank you so much and we'll see you on our next video.